Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. So today we're diving into a really important topic, which is the 3 condo traps buyers need to avoid in 2025.
So we've been speaking to a lot of buyers recently, and one thing is clear, many are still using the same property advice that were given 5 to 10 years ago. Today's market that could potentially get you stuck.
So if you're looking to buy soon, do watch to the end of this video.
So let's start with something that we've been seeing more and more of, overpriced one-bedroom units.
I think one-beders used to be the go-to choice for investors, but the game and the landscape has changed. Most of the time, the one-bedder units are also hovering around 400 to 500 square feet in size, but over the last few years, the PSF has gone up across the board.
We can take Lentor for example. People are paying up to even 1.5 million for just a 581 square feet unit. That's the current OCR pricing.
1.4 million unit for Lentor area. And it's not just in the OCR area. In the RCR, like projects like Emerald of Katong, which sold very well on the first day, buyers are also coughing up over 1.4 and close to 1.5 million for a one-bedroom unit. Buyer trends and buyer preferences have changed over the last few years, especially since post-COVID. In general, people want more space, but at the same time, one-bedders are also now very price sensitive.
So for example, if you're buying at 1.3 to 1.4 million, how much do you need to sell your one bedroom next time to even make a small profit? 1.5, 1.6?
If you were to pay like say, for 1.4 million for one bedder in Lentor, which is a very traditionally family-oriented area, what are the chances of you actually having a buyer next time pay 1.6 million for the same one bedder? Likelihood is low from our standpoint.
Here's a better alternative. So for example, you can look at the resale market instead. For a one bedroom, you can get in places like Jadescape for around just 1.05 million.
It's a very good size, 527 square feet. So it's not really inferior in size at all. It's actually along the same Thomson East Coast line as well and closer to town, with a 350k gap from Lentor area, which is a very good savings.
Let's say Park Esta is also in RCR. Even though the unit is slightly smaller, you're saving about 500k compared to Emerald of Katong. That's a huge saving.
Actually, you can see that in the resale market, there are really good deals if you're really looking around. But of course, if you're really looking and very set on buying a new launch instead of a resale, for that same 1.3 to 1.4 million, there are probably better alternatives. Recently, there have been projects like Promenade Peak or River Green. The one bedders there, we were also priced from 1.3 to 1.4 million, and it's in a prime cost central locality. If you really ask yourself, where would you rather pay, right? Would you rather pay 1.4 million for a one bedder in Lentor, or would you rather pay the same 1.4 million for area like Great World City? I think the answer is very clear.
So the second trap is dual key layout. These layouts were very popular 7 to 8 years ago.
I think back then the idea that was being sold was that you could own 2 units in one. Rent out one side and then you stay in the other side. And at the same time, you don't have to pay additional buyer stamp duty for this concept. I think last time the idea sold was that for intergenerational living, you could have your parents perhaps stay in the studio unit while you stay in the bigger side. I think since again post-COVID, the trends have really changed as well. People are all about having their privacy and personal space.
Many families aren't as comfortable sharing an entrance with a tenant or even a stranger. Even let's say you do a lock partition.
Actually, the data really tells us something very telling. 7 to 8 years ago, dual key units used to sell very well. Okay, the first to sell during launch. But nowadays, if you see Nava Grove, for example, the regular 4-bedders have sold very well. But if you see the dual key 4-bedder units, only 1 out of the 23 have been sold to date. So there are still 22 out of the 23 still available. I think the developer realized this and the sales were so bad to a point where they had to take quick action, and they even redesigned the layout middle of the launch to make it a typical 4-bedroom instead. You also put out the floor plan here, but you can see that it still has the same dual key shape, but they've actually opened it up to tune it more for own stay in the end. I think we saw this also at the Ori. Launch day also saw the typical 3-bedder snap up very fast, but guess what's still available? It's still only the 3-bedder dual keys.
I mean, if the dual key layouts fit your lifestyle, then go ahead by all means.
Yeah.
But just know that the exit strategies for dual key units may be riskier now. Demand has definitely dropped.
This may also affect your profitability in the future as well, since the demand is not really quite there at the moment.
So the third trap, overcommitting based on future transformation plans.
If we recall in 2013, in Jurong area, the same story has been repeated many times still today. So of course, the Jurong is actually planned out as the second CBD, and a lot of big plans for the area. For example, they also planned for the high-speed rail back then as well.
To KL.
There was a huge buzz in it, and I think in 2013, this really helped this project called J Gateway really create the hype, and they basically sold out on launch day, at an average of 1,400 to 1,500 per square foot, which was considered steep back then because back then OCR prices were under 1,000 PSF. So these people are already paying top dollar and premium for J Gateway itself.
So fast forward to 10 years later, in 2023, Jadon actually launched at the same site, also at Jurong East, and guess what? The same transformation narrative has been oversold.
And so it looks like 10 years later, right, the second CBD hasn't really taken off, and actually in between that time, the high-speed rail was actually cancelled. Even the Malaysia side had to pay a couple of fines for cancelling the plans as well. The prices paid were up to 2,800 PSF. I think some people even forked out 1.6 million for a 1-bedroom and even 2.3 million for a 2+ study, which is we consider a very high price for Jurong. It's a high price for even more central locations.
So at that price, you could actually have gone for a CCR project like Promenade Peak or even Central Fringe, Nava Grove and Pine Hill.
No, I think the same story. Let's say, if there was a launch in Jurong in 2034, 10 years later, right? Can you imagine we are still spinning the same story today? And 2024, the second CB also hasn't really taken full flight. What we're trying to say is we don't really want to start smart based on promises or very big plans. I think at the end of the day, we have to still go back to the fundamentals, which is to look at the location, resale transacted prices, and in comparison, looking at the schools, amenities, and as well in terms of the exit strategy.
These transformation plans are great, but they're also long-term. If you're buying with like a mid-term horizon, don't let that cloud your judgment.
So we've come to the end of our video. If you found this useful, do remember to like and subscribe and share this with someone who is house hunting in 2025.
Then let us know in the comments below what's the biggest trap you have seen recently, and we'd like to hear your experiences.
Okay,
Thank you for watching.
Bye-bye.